Norumbega, a novel. Stephen Ango Oliver, February 6th, 2024. Chapter 1. She awoke and went directly to the garden, where she knelt and pressed her hands into the rich, dark soil. Speaking softly to Mother Earth, she felt a familiar disappointment that Mother Earth never replied. In truth, the earth knew little of her and concerned itself even less with her struggles. When life became too heavy, she often felt shaken loose, like water slipping from a duck's back. With that sobering thought, she wiped the cold dirt from her bare legs and returned inside to shower, dress, and face the day. Rather than bringing her down, the reminder of her smallness lifted her spirits. There was freedom in insignificance. In the liminal space between sleep and waking, he reached across the bed to her side. Empty. He reached farther and was not surprised. As on most mornings, she would be in the garden, hands plunged deep into the soil, dressed, or not, in whatever she had slept in. He had watched her often. It always seemed to him that she was somehow plugged in, recharging. Once, though he blamed the early light, he thought he saw her glowing, as if wrapped in a soft aura. He considered checking on her, but decided against it. It felt like a private moment, something not to be interrupted. With a quiet smile, he shifted so he could see the doorway and settled back into the warmth of the bed. The morning sun washed the garden in gold as she worked the soil. It was her sanctuary, a place untouched by the noise of the world. Here, everything slowed. Everything made sense. As her hands dug deeper, she reflected on the interconnectedness of all things. Her life, like the seeds she planted, was only a small thread in a vast tapestry. It was a truth that had taken years to accept, and longer still to welcome. Birdsong drifted through the air. Leaves rustled in the breeze. Nature kept her company, and she took comfort in its constancy, in its indifference. Inside the house, he watched her through the window with admiration and curiosity. He often wondered what the garden gave her that he could not. It was a mystery he didn't need to solve to cherish. Their love existed quietly, without performance. No grand gestures, no declarations. It lived in moments like this, watching her kneel in the dirt, wholly herself. As the sun climbed, he decided to bring her tea. A small interruption, but one she would forgive. Days passed in this gentle rhythm. Morning after morning, she greeted the earth. Morning after morning, he observed from a distance. Routine became refuge. Until one morning, something caught her eye. A glimmer of light, faint but unmistakable. She brushed away the soil to reveal a small, shimmering object nestled among the roots of a flowering plant. When her fingers touched it, energy surged through her, alive, electric. She gasped and pulled her hand back, breathless. The garden remained unchanged. The light remained. With trembling hands, she lifted the object. A crystal, unlike any she had seen, glowing from within, warm and inviting. "What have you found?" he asked suddenly beside her. "I don't know," she said, holding it out, "but it's extraordinary." Together, they examined it, unaware that this quiet discovery marked the beginning of something vast, a journey into Norumbega, into buried truths and ancient memory. Standing in the garden, bathed in morning light, they understood only one thing with certainty. Nothing would ever be the same. And they were ready. Chapter 2. What the Earth Remembers. They did not speak of the crystal right away. The garden seemed to demand silence, as if the soil itself were listening. She wrapped the object in a linen cloth and carried it inside, setting it on the old wooden table where sunlight pooled through the window. Even covered, it hummed faintly, not with sound, but with presence. He felt it before he saw it, a pressure behind the eyes, a subtle tightening in the chest. "That thing," he said at last, "it doesn't feel like it belongs to us." She nodded. "It doesn't feel like it belongs to now." They sat across from one another, tea cooling between them. Outside, the garden stirred as it always did, indifferent to revelation. Yet something had shifted. She could feel it in her bones, as if a door long buried had been nudged open. She had heard the word Norumbega before, not spoken aloud, never clearly, but threaded through old maps, half-remembered stories, margins of books that scholars dismissed as romantic invention. A place that might have existed, or might still. A land that was said to remember itself. As a child, she had traced the name with her finger in the atlas at the town library. Norumbega. The librarian had smiled indulgently and said it was a myth, a phantom kingdom, a cartographer's mistake. But myths had a way of surviving facts. She reached for the cloth and unfolded it. The crystal caught the light and responded, brightening as though relieved to be seen. Within it, something moved. Not a reflection, not quite a shadow. Depth. "This wasn't planted," she said softly. "It was waiting." "For what?" he asked. "For us." The words surprised her as much as him. Yet they felt true. That night, she dreamed of stone towers swallowed by trees, of rivers that bent against gravity, of voices speaking a language older than naming. She stood barefoot on soil that pulsed beneath her feet, alive in a way she had never known the earth could be. When she woke, the crystal lay warm in her hands. He dreamed too, of roads that did not exist on any map, of a city built where land and memory overlapped, of standing at a threshold, knowing that once crossed, there would be no returning to the life he had known. In the morning, neither needed to explain. They began to research, not feverishly, but carefully. Old journals, regional folklore, marginalia in forgotten books. Always the same pattern emerged. Norumbega appeared briefly, brightly, and then vanished. Settlements found and lost. Expeditions abandoned. Maps corrected, then quietly recorrected years later. Always just beyond reach, and always tied to the land itself. One passage, brittle with age, stopped her cold. Norumbega is not found. It allows itself to be remembered. She closed the book. The crystal pulsed once, softly. They understood then that Norumbega was not a destination, but a recognition. A place revealed only to those who listened, to the soil, to silence, to the spaces between certainty. The garden outside stirred again, wind passing gently through leaves. Something ancient had taken notice, and somewhere beneath their feet, the earth remembered their name.